This episode is brought to you by Inner Balance Massage Therapy, located downtown Boston Spa. Inner Balance offers all styles, a long list of products, and relief from the everyday wear and tear. Call Nancy at 518-588-4949 or go online and book an appointment at www.innerbalancemt.com. Call Nancy and mention this ad, and she'll give you $15 off. Nancy at Inner Balance Massage Therapy.
Disclaimer. The hosts of this podcast, Timothy Patrick and Will Foley, are by no means professionals. However, having lived experience with mental illness themselves, they have gained useful perspectives on common mental health issues that some of us struggle to overcome on a daily basis. By sharing their stories, they hope to create connection. By creating connection, they hope to help you find your purpose. And through purpose, we can all begin to build the foundations for positive mental health. This is the Above Ground Podcast.
Are you ready to lace up your boots, throw up your horns, and jump into the pit? Then let's stomp the stigmas of mental illness. It's time for Above Ground Podcast. Now, Will Foley and Timothy Patrick.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another
Fun-filled episode of Above Ground Podcast.
Above Ground Podcast, because you can't serve below.
No, you cannot.
You know who that is? You down with TPP?
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. What's up, Timmy?
What's up, Will? What's up, everybody?
You know, I'm feeling a little persistent.
A little persistent.
A little persistent depression going on, man.
Yeah, I hear you. It happens. Sometimes it happens more than others. Sometimes you get diagnosed with dysthymia.
Dysthymia, yes. Tell me what dysthymia is, dude.
It's like a milder yet more chronic form of major depression. You know, you may have depression issues that are a little bit more longer lasting.
Yeah.
It says here, actually, to diagnose this condition, an adult must have a depressed mood for at least 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
There's no clear cause of this disorder, but mental health professionals think it's a result of chemical imbalances in the brain. Some types of depression seem to run in families, but no genes have yet been linked to depression. Which I thought there was, like...
A depression gene?
Yeah.
I thought we talked about that at one point.
We did. I thought it was like 40% of depression is...
Yeah, and I think I really think that that's probably low. Because I find it very hard to believe that there's, that we're just developing depression just because of the current state of the world or whatever. I think there's definitely got to be a fairly bigger gene link to it. At least, definitely some forms of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, definitely the state of the world, the environment that we live in, everything's just so fast-paced and demanding.
It is. The concept of dysthymia actually was developed by Robert Spitzer in the late 70s. He coined the phrase, and it was he coined the phrase as a replacement for the term depressive personality. Which, because, to say a person just has the personality of being depressed kind of shortchanges the brain itself, because I know in our episodes, in the last couple episodes that we've had together, we've talked about the brain and rage and the brain, just being all fuzzy and crazy, but
it happens. And then, add stress, add, foreign things that we put in our gut.
Yeah, well, the gut is the third brain.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
In some cultures, it's the first brain.
That's true. In some cold Mediterranean cultures.
Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern too. They put a lot on their diet, man. One of the biggest complications, though, for dysthymic people is self-harm and suicide. Because when you live in a very, very depressed state all the time, and you don't see any, like, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You know, it starts to make things...
It's like a constant feeling of hopelessness.
Yeah, it's a constant despair that you just can't shake. And it's very foreboding.
Foreboding. That's a good word.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. Yeah, dysthymic people are definitely at a greater risk for self-harm and suicide. At least an attempt, or at least the thought of it anyway. And a lot of people, I've talked to, I have a close friend of mine who has borderline personality disorder, and it's called the blue screen of death, where there's just no feeling whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah,
I never knew that.
And no, this is what this person calls it.
Oh, okay.
This is what she calls it.
I like that.
And she calls it the blue screen of death. And she said that sometimes the only way that she can feel anything at all is to open herself up. And that's what happens with a lot of people who cut. They want to feel something because they don't feel anything except just this melancholia that's just like beyond like anything, like even beyond what I feel. Because I definitely am not.
I've talked to someone that too also cuts and self-harm. I'm not sure.
Yeah, self-harm is probably and I apologize for, but that's, you know.
But who indulged in self-harm before, and they spoke of it as more of a release, like they had so much, I don't know if it was like built up emotion and stuff that they couldn't.
It's like
really,
a release valve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that described that way too also. And I'm not surprised, because it kind of does all go hand in hand as far as, especially if you are so numb inside to happiness and joy that, you know, the only way for you to even know if you're living is to you know, self-harm.
Right.
And that's something that, you know, a lot, I don't know, I do not have those tendencies. I never have. So I can't really speak to the self-harm part of it.
It's funny that you said you were speaking to the friend about the blue. What'd they say again? The blue
Screen of
blue
death.
Screen of death. Well,
And that's her term for it, and I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. But listen to this. So this just stuck out because it has blue in quotes. So depression is a mood disorder that involves your body, mood, and thoughts. It affects the way you eat and sleep, think about things, and feel about yourself. It's not the same as being unhappy or in a blue mood. That's right. You know, it is not a sign of weakness, obviously, or something that can be willed or wished away. We can't snap out of it. And dysthymia is a milder but longer lasting form of that depression. It's also called persistent depressive disorder. People with this condition may also have bouts of major depression at times.
Yeah, I can imagine.
This is interesting. It affects women twice as often as men. Some people may also have depression or bipolar disorder. There's no clear cause of this type of depression, but it does affect women more than men, which is interesting, I guess. Lasting sadness, as Will said. What was that word you used? Foreboding. Less ability to concentrate, think, make decisions, feeling empty, less energy, fatigue, more tired.
All things that you feel with a normal depression, but for a lot extended period of time.
Yeah.
And it's an extended period of time of, like, you know, it could be a year or two. It's usually over I think they look at 2 years. Is that what you said they look at?
That's what it, yeah, that's what it said here, yeah. I didn't write where I got this stuff down, where I got this from.
One of the things about self-harm and I'm looking at the mental health first aid guide. If that's anything that if you've never heard of this, mental health first aid is an 8-hour course that is put on by the Mental Health America, or the Mental Health Association of New York State, Mahaney's. I took it in March just before lockdown. It was the best 8 hours I spent in a room in a long period of time. It was one of the best courses I've ever taken. And it didn't cost me anything, man, except 8 hours. And there's so many skills that you will get to use, and so many things you'll get to hear, and people that you'll get to talk to that are just in the profession in one way or another, whether it be an EMT or people who work at Mahaney's, or people who work at the state of New York in Office of Mental Health. Just all of these organizations, and the mental health first aid program is amazing. And there's a little section about people who engage in non-suicidal self-injury, and they do it for many reasons, including to escape unbearable anguish, to change the behavior of others because others react to them in one way or another, or they're getting needs met that we don't understand. And that's really what a big thing is: to escape from a situation, to show desperation to others, to get back at other people or make them feel guilty, to relieve tension, and to seek help. And I think that they're all cries for help, even if there's some reason to guilt induce someone. I still think that you're still crying out to someone and saying, look, I'm doing this because I'm in pain. I'm doing this because I'm in unbearable pain, and the only way that I get to deal with this pain is by releasing it. And the only way I can release it is by, feeling that happen, or, whatever that is. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to hurt yourself permanently, but you could. There's always that chance.
Mm-hmm. And who wants to, walk around with those thoughts and feelings?
Well, nobody wants to, right? And that's what happens. People, and that's why people shut themselves in their room and don't ever leave,
right?
Because they hear the voices all the time. That's another thing that, and this isn't, I say this to everyone about mental health first aid. If you listen to this show, chances are you've heard of it, you've taken it. Or, you may be a teacher, or you may be an instructor in it. But it's one of the best courses that I've ever taken, because we went through some real life scenarios, and one of them was where we paired off in threes in a trio, and 2 people were assigned to talk to one another face to face, and the third person was meant to stand on one side or the other of the person who we were mimicking schizophrenia in. And it was, you had to talk into this person's ear like you were a voice telling them what to do, and this person is supposed to concentrate on the conversation in front of them with the person that they're actually talking to, yet this voice is going on in someone's head, and I couldn't concentrate on a conversation while that was going on in my head. I was like, how could you? It's just
oh yeah.
When I talk to myself, I can silence the voice. I know my own inner dialogue.
You feel like you can always silence it, though?
When I'm listening to somebody else, most of the time. There's times where it starts to creep up, and I start to notice it. My inner dialogue will kick up when somebody says something, or I get a feeling, or whatever.
Right.
It'll start going on in my head, and I might be able to silence it, and then I just go right back to it as soon as the situation's over. Because my inner dialogue never stops. It just does not. Yeah. And it's pitiful too, because it's not pitiful, but my daughter has literally caught me in inner dialogue talking to myself. She'll see my lips moving and she'll be like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'll be like, I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. It's personality number 5.
Gizmo. That's what I'm talking to. One of the gremlins.
But I can understand where a dysthymic person could slip into psychosis. Very fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was kind of ironic, because when Tim brought this idea up, I was kind of really caught off guard, because I like tattoos. I have the Old Guitarist, which is a portrait that was painted by Pablo Picasso on my left arm. And when he sent me I Googled dysthymia and I went to Wikipedia, and the picture that they're actually showing to be dysthymic is the old guitarist, because the old guitarist was actually painted during Picasso's blue period. And I was kind of taken aback by that, because I was like, what is that saying to me? But
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm dysthymic or not.
I don't
think I am.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think. I definitely go through depression a lot more, but I'm definitely like. But I already know that. But my baseline is a lot lower than most people's. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
So when I get up enough, I'm good with that. I don't need to be any higher than I am, because that turns into it can turn into mania. It does, because I noticed it too, and it just it's crazy, because it's like.
Do you feel like now that you're learning more and you've taken these courses, like do you feel like that helps manage yourself better?
Oh yeah. Now, granted, like we had this discussion past episode about rage. That, I mean, yes, these things help, but you have to use them. Now, do I put them into practice all the time? No, not 100%. But what it does is that it lowers me quicker. It gets me back to base quicker, and it also allows me to go in another room and say, okay, that was bad because, and it's gotten me a lot of insight.
Cool.
Like, the insight is big, and if you can name it, you can tame it.
Right.
But
right.
But if you rage it, you can't cage it.
Wow. You just come up with that?
Well, no. I mean, it's Rage in the Cage, man.
Oh.
Jay Giles. But no, that wasn't a line from it. I just kind of like put those two words together.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
Anybody could do that. You could do it too.
Can I?
I'm talking to them out there.
Oh. I can't.
You can do it too. No,
you guys can do it.
Timmy can do it too.
I can't. You guys can, though. I'll listen. I'm just a good listener.
But how are you with how's your depression?
It's there.
Is it always there? Is there a general sadness always?
I don't. I'm going to say no, because I don't think there. I mean, I'm going to say no, but at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm like tiptoeing through the tulips either. It's just more of a general awareness of that there's going to be some days that are rainy, there's going to be days that are sunny, and, there's going to be days that are just kind of dark and cloudy. It's more of an acceptance thing, I guess.
The acceptance is good, man. Dude, radical acceptance is an amazing thing.
Being able to go, well, you know what? Like, today I'm not really doing okay, but I know that, and I'm going to kind of just do what I can to, step away from the fire, so to speak, and just get through the day. Do what I have to do to get through the day. Because tomorrow can be a change.
When do you throw today out and start looking tomorrow? You go to bed?
As soon as I close the eyes. Sayonara. Toodaloo, bitches.
You don't sign the day off sooner sometimes? Shit, there's days where I've signed the day off at 5 o'clock, and I'm just like, I don't want to do
I guess
anything.
I do, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like that, depending on how you do it, I feel like it can create more havoc. You know what I mean? Because you're signing off earlier, then you're like, oh, it's just like, now I got to wait until, you know what I mean? It's just creating more, you're just shoveling that shit onto like a bigger pile, All
right, so not cashing out your chips too soon.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could.
But when do you? I mean.
Well, you could be the opening band, and the doors open at 5. You go on at 6, and at 5:30 there's only one person in the crowd. But at 6 o'clock there could be 15.
You still got to play to that one person, just like they're 15,
Right.
and just like they're
Exactly what I'm saying. Still got to do the show.
still got to do the show.
So don't write off the show. Just be like, when the show's over, then I'll write it off. I feel like if you write it off before, then you're not really into that performance. You've almost forfeited that performance.
You've almost called it in.
Yeah, and I don't think it's fair for you, and I don't think it's fair for others that may have, be there to witness it.
I like it. That's a gosh darn good attitude you got there, Timmy.
Golly, thanks, Will. Yeah, that's just. I mean, again, there's, it's adding. There's always going to be suffering. You know what I mean? So I don't want to add more to it by, signing out or focusing on the negative. It just.
Yeah, but what happens if you are focusing on the negative and you can't seem to refocus?
Then,
what do you? I mean,
yeah,
you're gonna stay. You're gonna try to get back on that board and catch another wave, or are you gonna say, you know what, screw it? I got I tried to get up. Things aren't working out today, man. I'm gonna let the wave coast me in and hope I don't get attacked by a shark.
Yeah, I think I might do that, depending on the situation. But I think I might just be like, all right, this board's not my board today.
Yeah, because there's got to be a time where it's not beneficial to hang in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you just got to sometimes you got to know when to say when.
Right. You keep getting bashed in the head by that wave. You're like, okay, you know what?
Yeah. Because eventually you're going to get tired and you're not going to be able to get up.
And you're going to suck down in the undertow.
Yeah. And that undertow, dude, you ain't breaking.
No. So, yeah. So you're right. Sometimes it's better to bow out.
Gracefully. With grace.
Yeah.
There's a graceful way to bow out, man.
Bring Grace along. She can help you.
She can. As long as she's not gone.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I figured you were. I didn't think you were walking away from it.
What does that mean?
ABCs of me, baby.
These are the ABCs of me. What do you mean? I can feel the love right now.
Oh, it's a big fat bear hug coming across the table at you.
Oh man. What about you? Do you think that there's always that lingering, looming depression there, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dude, I operate at a very, my like I said, my levels are definitely, if you look at a mixer and you see the 0 decibel, which is at neutral level, which is you don't ever want to really come above that because I'm like my 0 level is.
You're flirting with it?
No, I'm a couple levels below that, just on
a
normal. But I didn't realize that I operated at that level for so long, just in the last couple of years. But I noticed it that nothing
It's
makes
kind of
me
warm there.
It is, but nothing makes me so ecstatic that I hold on to it. It turns into it can backfire on me and turn into utter fear if I let it.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can definitely.
Yeah, because
it ricochets. In the negative direction usually.
Which is good that you're not really, as long as you treat the negative that way, I think.
I don't. Yeah. I've always held on to the negative more.
I know.
And the problem is that I don't get to enjoy the things, I don't enjoy the things that I really should enjoy, that you work hard for things.
Right.
Again, so within the last month, I've been given my provisional certificate for peer support specialist, which I took 13, which I did my 13 classes. I just found out, just got my provisional. I got, stuff I got to do to keep it. But I was happy for the first hour that I got it, but then the reality kicked in, and I'm like, okay, well, what am I really going to do with this? And Like, am I gonna, like, in order to fulfill all this, I need to actually work?
See, but there's not always
And that's not necessarily has to be a negative, but to me
Right,
it feels like a
but-
negative because it feels like weight.
well, that's what I'm saying, because I feel like you set it up that way, like there always has to be like a means to an end almost. And there doesn't always have to be that. Like you should just be like, I took the course, and like now what? Well, now what? I learned A, B, and C. Like, you know what I mean? That's like, I feel like the this culture we live in is exactly like I'm gonna go to a school and I'm gonna get this degree. Like, what's your goal? Well, to get the degree. And really, the goal should be is to learn the material.
Well, no, that was the goal, but I mean,
No, I'm not saying you in general.
I didn't just want to learn the material just to learn it for me, because it's not just. I mean, yes, it's gonna help me.
Right.
Absolutely, it helped
well,
me.
no, but you can use it in the podcast and stuff. I think, you know.
Right. But
So-
you get a point like in life where you want to pass things on.
Yeah.
Where you want to share the things that you learn.
Yeah.
Because that's what helps you learn them more, is that you share them.
Right.
And I
in
didn't
return,
and I didn't live that way when I was young. I could have given two shits if I shared anything, man.
Right.
And that was just because I was just young and
You were too
naive.
busy sharing the bong.
Yeah, I wasn't even doing that, man.
No.
No, wasn't even doing that. I didn't have the game for that.
No.
No, I never had the game for that, man. I wanted to be that. That's what I thought I wanted to be. Like, I really did. I thought I wanted to be your prototypical, but I could never do it. I
Yeah.
never.
Thank
I
goodness.
never. Yeah, I guess in some ways. I mean,
You don't want that lifestyle, man.
But it was like, but I couldn't. I didn't have the game.
Right.
I never probably will. But whatever. These are the ABCs of me.
That's right. That's right. Speak 'em. Meek 'em.
That's right. Stake 'em.
Stake 'em.
Stake 'em.
What other things you have to add for this dysthymia or any depression? I mean, we could talk about depression all night.
Yeah, dude. Depression wears many sweaters. Depression has a lot of layers, man. Remember, we're talking about onions. I love onions. Onions are one of my favorite vegetables. I only eat them raw. I don't like them cooked unless they're in an onion ring. I'm not really a big... I'll eat them in stew and stuff, but I'd much prefer them. I like my vegetables raw. I like them crunchy. I like my veggies raw. I do, man.
There's something wrong with this guy.
I do. I hate mushy vegetables. I hate them.
Baby, I like it raw.
I like it raw. But you peel that thin skin off that onion, man, and that onion's pretty goddamn hardy underneath.
Right.
And there's a lot of layers to it. And depression has a lot of layers. There's that thin layer on top that just needs something to penetrate it to start working into the other layers. And that you start to, when you pick those layers apart of what the depression is,
You get more layers.
you do. You just get more layers
Get more
because it's so.
Sometimes you get a rotten onion.
Sometimes you get that black spot in there. It's all mushy and gross. You got to cut that shit out of it, like cancer.
That's right. Don't eat it, and don't think
eat
that
it.
you're stuck with that onion. You can always cut it out. There's always
That's right.
something
You can cut
do.
it out, man. Just like potatoes, you can cut the bad parts off. Just make sure you leave enough to
Potatoes.
potatoes. Let's cut the whole thing out.
What are you doing to help with depression?
What I always do. Ignore it.
Jesus Christ. You know, he had the spotlight. That could have been the moment of truth right there. What did you say? Ignore it.
I had to lighten up this mood, man.
Okay. That's
dude,
fair.
come on. When I walk around in a depressed haze, I don't want to have to spend all of my time in that.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
We talk about it enough
We
on a
do.
normal, normally.
We do. We
Like,
do.
that's the only thing about being involved in all this is that you talk a lot about this stuff all the time. It's one complaint I have at home. Always talk about
Oh, really?
mental health and
See, I
suicide.
love it. That's, you know.
Well, you don't have anybody at home.
Well, yeah, that's true.
all the
That's
time.
why I love it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We just speak truth here
Yeah.
at Above
Real,
Ground
raw
Podcast. That's
conversations.
right.
We never said different, so.
No, that's this is transparency, man.
That's right.
Like that's the 3 cent word of the day.
3 cent word?
That's the 3 cent word of the day, transparency.
All right. Transparency. Okay.
That's right, see?
Yeah, I got it. There's just a bunch of
Oh,
words.
well, 3 cent. I didn't mean 3 syllable.
I know you didn't. No. I was thinking in my head. I know what you meant. 3 cent. 3 cent, 3 cents.
Yeah,
50
whatever.
cent.
50 cent. In the house, in the club.
3 cent plus 3 cent equals 6 cent.
That's right.
That's 2 words.
Okay. On that note, I got a few words for you, too.
What are you guys doing at home for your depression?
Yeah. How are you dealing with the change of seasons? Do you have a seasonal bend to your depression at all? I know I do. I hate fall. I always did. But I know it now, and it's easier to handle as a grown-up. But still,
what?
as a grown-up,
As
it's
a what?
easier.
I fell for it.
I did. I fell for it twice. I almost fell for it a third time.
No, you were like right there. You're
I was
"Wait a
like
minute."
right there. What? See? That's what happens. You spin around in a haze of despair. And
Right round.
Right round. Like a record baby.
So if you want to connect with us on Facebook, social media, Instagram, all those twangers, Twitters, and litters and jitters.
Yeah.
We're on there somewhere. Find us.
Find us. We're there.
Say hi. Or you can just go to www.abovegroundpodcast.net.
.net. That's right. That's our net space right there. That's where we go. You go there, you can find all the episodes.
All the episodes are there.
All the episodes are there. All of them.
You can
But,
always tell your friends about them and have like an episode party.
That's right. You can have an episode listening party.
Show your mom. Show
And
your
you know
dad.
what? Share some video, and then who knows? Maybe we'll show up at one.
Yeah.
We'll do a live podcast. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, with a clown.
People don't like clowns, man.
All right.
A lot of people don't like clowns. I wore my Joker mask. I got a Joker face mask.
No, we don't like that either.
Oh, people hate. Oh, I had 2 people.
I'm talking like a happy, like Puddles the clown.
Screw Puddles.
No, come on now.
I like dark, evil clowns.
Oh, jeez.
Pennywise.
See, I'm trying to get you out of that depression, and you go right back to it.
Yeah, see? It's just a nice, warm place. It's safe in here. It's safe in here. Oh, well, on that note, you're going to have to be safe someplace else. Because
We'll
you
keep
can
you
stay
safe.
anywhere you want, but you can't stay here.
Be well.
Be safe.
Be
Above.